Hey guys, Dave with Moneyology here. Hope everyone is having a wonderful weekend. This is the Biotech Sector Review and Top Picks, Part 5, February 4th, 2018. This is where we go through our watch list of well over 300 names, and we're just looking at names in the biotech space that appear either ready to break out or are breaking out or are perhaps a couple weeks away, but nonetheless every single one of these videos or potential picks serves to teach a purpose in terms of kind of how I look at charts, and hopefully will help you become better traders and investors. So without further ado, let's take a look at the names in this particular watch list. Let's start with KITO Pharma, KTOV. This one has had a very nice kind of basing pattern since early 2017. Finally broke out above the Bollinger Band in July, and now it's starting to really ride this wave higher. Now it's firmly above the 50-day moving average, 50-week moving average, as well as the Bollinger Band, and looks to be ready to break above 3. There's positive divergence in RSI. Now it's kind of stalling here slightly around that 60 level, which is not a surprise. So it might be a couple more weeks before we break out of 3, but I think that the probability is growing higher with every passing week that we stay above the middle Bollinger Band and the 50-week moving average. Volume starting to increase. MACDs are firmly above 0. Unbalanced volume starting to increase here, and so again we think for us this is a strong buy. If you don't own this is a buy above $3. We like this name. MBVX Therapeutical Holdings, MBVX. This one's been a conundrum here. It's been basing from a low of 42, 43 basically to a high of 109 and kind of oscillating in between. And it's been very frustrating if you bought here and now it went all the way down, hit a low of 56. But the MACDs are firmly above 0. The volume's starting to increase, so something's definitely taking place over here. Look at the stair-step momentum here. That's very important to continue to follow. Price is only secondary importance to momentum, and so if this can continue to build higher highs and higher lows, it's going to break out above 50, and that'll be your cue to go long this name. We think that this is going to break 125 sooner rather than later, and for us, we would consider going long once that happens above 125, which likely coincides with the 50 EMA at that point, which is currently at 152, but likely is going to go down a little bit here to meet this 125 level. So once that breaks to the upside, likely that 250 area becomes in place. So keep an eye on MBVX. Mankind Corp, MNKD. This one definitely has broken out since its bottom around 66 cents to a high of 6.96, and now it's kind of consolidated in this bullish flag kind of formation here, and now it's finding support precisely around that area of breakout point. And so now the question is, what does it do? Is it going to break lower or is it going to break higher? Well, for us, we want to invest on probabilities. There are no certainties in investing. Notice that even though we broke below the 50 and the middle Bollinger Band, that first of all that tells us let's not buy until it breaks above these two levels. But that being said, this 250 area is support right where resistance was around September, October last time around. First of all. Second of all, the MACDs are starting to curl higher, and that's something to keep an eye for. Volume is coming back, and we did briefly close below 50, but we started to curl back above 50 on the weekly RSI. So that's important to break out above that number. But ultimately, if this breaks above the middle Bollinger Band around 306 right now, then this can really start running. The first price target will really be around 450. And I think ultimately, if this uptrend is indeed has begun here, then ultimately this probably heads towards a 1050 clip. So there's a lot of upside ahead, but just keep an eye, keep this on your radar. Microbot Medical, MBOT. This is one of those examples where technicals have not yet worked, and it's been basing for a while. Massive volume, massive accumulation here. MACDs have been firmly above 0, so you would have thought that maybe this was the area where we'd break out. And sure, we ran from 107 all the way to a high of 142. If you caught this run, you did pretty well. But it's fallen back here and it's still back consolidating around that $1 zone. The RSI is moving higher, albeit very slightly. So the question for us is, can it break above this 130 zone? If it can, that's a buy point, and likely the target is around $2.50 or $5. I think this ultimately does break to the upside. Question is when, so depends on your strategy. If you're a bottom feeder, this might be not a bad point to start nibbling. If you're a momentum trader, you want to wait until this breaks above 130, and but ultimately there's something taking place here, but for whatever reason the stock is not moving. Molecular Biotech MBRX, another one that had a nice run in June of last year from a low of 71 cents, high of 375. It's consolidated in this extended bullish flag here, and now it's starting to kind of build another base here, potentially getting ready to move higher. Why do I think that? Well, the volume, the unbalanced volume is very high. You've got MACDs starting to curl towards what I think will likely break above zero, and momentum is starting to build, and it's consolidating right below that 50 area where it's struggling to break out. Also, RSI here is higher today than when price was at 323, so it's building this positive divergence. And so for us to go long on this name, you want to see a break above 2 on a weekly closing basis, but when it does, it likely makes a run towards 350 and ultimately 550 in the not too distant future. MYOS Ren Technology, MYOS, another one that had a massive run from 102 to 698, and it's basically consolidated with this bullish flag pattern, but that hasn't broken out to the upside, and we've just been consolidating here back at basically the same area where we were prior to breakout. And something I want to point out, one of the keys to my approach is you want to see where RSI broke out from the last time a breakout occurred. So this happened around here. We had a breakout. So this is around this 38 to 40 level on RSI. So if you draw a line here, this becomes crucial support around the same area. And now we're curling back to test this area. And if we hold, and I believe we will, then this can likely lead to a very, very nice breakout should it occur. So watch for a break above the 150 area, and this can make a very strong run back to the $6 zone in the not too distant future. So another one to keep an eye out for. NeuroMetrics, NURO, another one kind of been basing here for a while. Finally ran into very, very strong volume, and it was kind of smacked back down, but the momentum is diverging positively. So we're at 151, which is more or less the lowest point over the last year, and yet momentum is higher today than it was when we were at a much higher price point. So keep an eye on this one. We're not touching this, but if it breaks above 250, this could make a very strong, solid move towards this point of resistance around 480. Next on the list is Northwest Biotherapeutics. This is probably our favorite chart on this watch list, NWBO. And this is another one that's been frustrating, but when you look at it from a weekly time point, it broke above this downtrend that it started in 2015, consolidated for a while on the better half of this breakout, and even though if you bought here as we did and we were stopped out around here, that was frustrating, but then it consolidated and you thought maybe this is the end. Yet clearly the weekly chart showed us that something has indeed changed here, and that the uptrend has begun. So then finally you had some strong hammer moves on the weekly, and boom, here we are at 33 cents again, but with much stronger momentum here. So a break above the 50 EMA of 36 likely sends shares towards 50 cents. And I think this hits $1 in the not too distant future. Very, very strong chart here and very beautiful pattern. You definitely want to consider this one. NOVAX, NVAX, another one that's building this rounded base here. MACDs are at their basically 52, maybe possibly 2-year highs here, which is positive. Volume's very strong. RSI is just closed a tick below 69, but RSI is leading price, and that's very positive. This looks like it wants to go higher and much higher, possibly eventually fill this gap around $8. Definitely one name you want to consider owning. And finally on the list is NYMX Pharmaceutical, NYMX. This one has been frustrating. It had a strong rally from 35 cents all the way to 450 here, and it's been basically basing here for a better part of 2 years, and it hasn't done much of anything. But momentum is starting to pick up here, and so just keep an eye on this one as MACDs are starting to curl higher. volume starting to pick up. So if this can break above $4, this can really run. If this breaks above $5, then that's your confirmation that this consolidation is over and the next leg higher has begun. So once this breaks either to the downside or to the upside, we believe it likely breaks to the upside, there's going to be a lot of blue sky to the upside, but it's not something you want to own until it does so. Anyway, guys, thank you for watching. If you're not familiar with our videos, we are on Patreon, and Patreon allows you to support the work that we do, allows us to create better videos and better quality videos, more user-friendly videos, more user requests, and ultimately this is for you. This is an education platform. This is not your trading blog where you're going to have a day trading chat room and you can find winners and losers on a minute-by-minute basis. We want to find new uptrends that we want to go long and downtrends that we potentially want to go short, and we do this through weekly chart action. So this is very different than your standard trading blog, but this is more of an education platform that we want to create, and we can't do this without you. We have 5 patrons right now, and we really thank you for their support, and we would really appreciate if you can pitch in here to help us reach our goals here. So check us out, patreon.com/moneyology, and please pledge your support, share with your friends, and if you appreciate the work we do, then please follow us on StockTwits and on Twitter. Thanks, guys, and have yourselves a wonderful week.